Welcome to the final part of our St. Lucia travel series with Chanel. We have explored the thrills, the food, and the accommodations, but now it's time to get practical. In this episode, Chanel shares her top tips and insights to help you make the most of your own trip to St. Lucia. Sometimes things can go wrong while we travel, but if we plan well, we can still have a good experience. You know, Chanel experienced a hurricane while she was in St. Lucia, and she still rates it as a 10 out of 10 experience. So, while in St. Lucia, how do you choose the best activities based on your interests? What should you consider when booking your stay? Are there any language barriers to be aware of? And what kind of souvenirs should you take back home? We're covering it all in this episode. Let's dive in. And don't forget to check out parts 1 and 2 to learn about what to do, where to stay, and what to eat. Thank you so much for taking out the time to speak with me today, Chanel. I'm very excited to know about picking your activities and your stay carefully based on what you want to do while you're in St. Lucia.
Yes, even though the island is small, you can waste a lot of time trying to drive from place to place, especially if you're repeating a drive, because it's always nice to see the scenic route. If you keep jumping from place to place, it can become taxing and expensive. Try to plan your accommodation around some of the things that you're trying to do. Another thing is to try the top iconic things of the country. Tourists want the authentic experience or to be with locals. Coming from somebody, I was born and raised in Jamaica, a country people visit a lot. You will never have an authentic experience. You just won't. You're there for a short time. Everyone knows you're from another country, so your interaction will be shaped through that. So I would say it's better to enjoy the things that a country has prepared for you, that they are willing to share with you. Don't force yourself into places that are not was not made to share with you. So try to do the top things the country is known for. And if you want to have authentic or off the beaten path experience, I will say try to plan those around food. I find like those experiences are a lot more, there's a lot more people in spaces that will create great food and things like that. And it's a good way to see a country, or smaller art galleries, or going to art festivals, things that showcase a country or area. That's where the people have a lot of pride and are excited. If your goal is to spend with locals, there's a way you can do that. As opposed to pushing yourself into people's neighborhoods. Try to do the tourist things, even if it's locally driven or heavily locally driven. It is open for invitation. Look for where you're invited and go to those things, because that's where you'll also be safe. And it does take a lot. It does damage a country a lot if someone goes somewhere and they're unsafe. And this isn't just with interaction with people. You can go and try jumping off a waterfall you're not supposed to be in. And that can impact tourism in that country and everything too. So try to go the places that you're invited to. Build your itinerary around things you love. So if you're a food person, fill the itinerary with food. If you are an exercise outdoor person, fill it with outdoor thing. If you're a music person, every country makes music. You can asks to be invited. If you love music and you're going to a country where music is big, reach out to studio owners and be like, is there a possibility I could come see? Now you've created an experience that nobody, which is something that I love to do, create an experience for myself that no one will be able to have, but you're asking for that invitation. You're doing it in a way that will allow you to still be safe, still have a lot of fun. So try to build your experiences around things you love. You will have a great time picking a location, especially a resort or accommodation. Read negative reviews and know your deal breakers. So when you see something that I cannot stay at a resort that doesn't have good pillows, then you can be like, somebody else will read it and be like, I don't even sleep with a pillow, I don't care. Whereas at Jade Mountain, they had a pillow menu. so you could order a type of pillow that you want. So different strokes. I don't care that much about a pillow, but read negative reviews so that you can understand if these things are deal breakers for you, and that way you can make a judgment call. So that would be my top tips.
Those were pretty insightful, especially about having that authentic experience. Specifically about St. Lucia, did you struggle with language at any point or find anything challenging?
No, they speak English. So when you compare that to, I was in Dominican Republic a few weeks ago, they're Spanish and majority speak only Spanish. But I'm also a traveler that doesn't expect English everywhere I go. I understand that I'm lucky that I speak the language that most places people will learn English because it's considered the business language. If I go somewhere and they don't offer English, they don't speak in English, you have Google Translate. If I'm going to a country, I try to learn the basic things. How do I get to like basic things? Say somebody is, and I learned that in Paris because I went to France and didn't speak any French. I had a different experience in France. I actually thought French people were really nice. They went out of their way to help me, struggling to help me because I couldn't say anything in French. So now I try to learn a few things. If I was coming to India, I would learn. I know there's a number of different languages, but I would try to learn basic things like what's my name, where I'm trying to go, can you help me? So if somebody really is trying to help, they can piece it together. But St. Lucia is English. The pace, everything is something that I was used to, so I didn't really have much issue outside of the hurricane.
That's good. So earlier we were talking about the timing of travel, the time of year you went. I want to know a little more about that. For the Caribbean islands, you were saying October onwards is when you should avoid. It's the hurricane season. Is that right?
So hurricane season on paper starts in end of May to end of October. That full stretch, you can expect a lot of rain, but the Caribbean rain is different. You come down and the rain is hard and it stops and you have sunshine mixed with the rain. So people still travel quite a bit in the summer, and I would say typically early June to August, you wouldn't expect a hurricane. So this was quite out of the ordinary. So I would have said those are great months to go. They're not as busy because North America is hot. So people are not running to get to an island, where I would say like a December, January, February, spring break. Those are going to be extremely busy time, but for good reason. The weather is amazing. There's no threats of hurricane. So those are the times that is recommended to go. I play around with the shoulder seasons of a country, but understanding that if you're going somewhere in a shoulder season, you have to plan for not just worst case, but the other case. So if you can go to a country to explore and be outside. This time of the year can be hot, but also extremely rainy. What's your rain plan? If it rains every single day, can you still have a great vacation? The answer is no, then don't go. But if it can rain every single day and you can still have a great vacation, then you can go to that country. For me, lots of food things happen inside, so I'd still be able to do food, I'd still be able to do art. I wouldn't terribly be upset if I miss beaches. Do a quick Google search, see when there's rainy season or too hot, so people can't take it being too hot. Make a decision about if the best case doesn't happen and the other case happens, can you be okay with that?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, especially what you were saying, that you budget for your trip and then do that extra budget as well, just in case something happens.
Yes, I learned that from St. Lucia. Always have a buffer budget just in case you have to get on. Actually, that year I went to New York and I wanted to get back home earlier, so I had to spend quite a bit of money to just get back home. So also understanding that things can happen emotionally, physical, anything like that, and ensure that you have a budget that can prepare you to either leave if you need to leave somewhere, book another hotel. Something can happen and you're at a hotel and you're not happy. Always be able to leave work out reimbursement if possible. Having a budget for unplanned or could happen risk management is good.
Yeah, for sure. So, Chanel, it has been really great speaking to you. I'm down to my last few questions for you. I want to know, like, what did you bring back from St. Lucia as a souvenir or something to remember the country by? Did you bring anything?
Oh my gosh, and I have that thing right over there. I wish I had it beside me right here. But I brought back a Chairman Reserve rum. I always bring back beverage, so I have a rum. The folder that I got from Jade Mountain, I still have it because they had a pillow menu in there. It was just one of those things where, for me, at some point, I would love to have a retreat villa. So a beautiful place where people come, where I host specific retreats. And I'm looking through this thing and I'm like, I need to remember all these little things that they have. So I still have that folder. I'm a huge photo and video person. So I have a lot on my phone in the Google Drive. We spoke about it a little bit earlier, a folder where I just dump all of those things because I will sit back and take a look at those photos. I'm also someone that will create short videos. And no one watches my reels and videos as much as I do. I made them for myself. I'll just go back and be like, oh, that was such a lovely time. I'm not big on taking back a lot of things, but a beverage, a piece of art, if something speaks to me, if I went to a restaurant or a venue or something and they gave me a menu or something that is something I want to hold, I'll keep that. And then just my photos and videos, those are important.
You're a collector.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I wish I could have seen your folder. Yeah. So how are you going to remember your time in St. Lucia? What are your best memories from visiting that country?
The experience at Jade Mountain, you planned for and you hope would be good, really met with expectations. I will say there's a surprise that people, even though the upgrades were great, like Windjammer and all of that, I will say just how nice the word kind, how kind the people were blew me away. And that's something where you never realize, because I've traveled to a lot of countries and you're always going to meet good people. You meet some people on their journey to being good. But when you meet a country where it's underpinned by kindness, it's a different feeling. I would say that was unique to St. Lucia. I experienced a hurricane when I was younger in Jamaica, and that was a traumatic, but being there as an adult and I'm older, I am not as worried. I can figure out things. I never get upset after a challenging experience because it really gets me to see how much I've grown. So it was a country that was like punctuated by love, joy, kindness, relaxation. Even in challenges, I was like, okay, I get to see, if you want an authentic experience, go to a country when it's having a hurricane. That's authentic. I know the hurricane hit Jamaica, and I know there was videos of the tourists in Jamaica cleaning up the resort. So yeah, those things can really change an experience too.
That was such a wonderful, I could just see it on your face, such a pleasant walk down memory lane with all the love and kindness you received, in spite of the fact that you were there at a time when there was a natural disaster happening. That really is quite commendable for a country to do, to be able to evoke those feelings in you still.
Yes.
That's great. It's been wonderful speaking to you, Chanile, and I'm really glad we could have this conversation about St. Lucia. You put this country on my radar for sure. And I think our viewers will also find the information and all the details and all the pleasantness about this country today very useful. So, with that, we will sign off for today. And thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right.
And that wraps up our amazing St. Lucia travel series with Chanile. We have gone on an adventure through her experiences, from thrilling excursions to delicious meals and valuable travel insights. If St. Lucia wasn't already on your bucket list, I'm sure it probably is now. A huge thank you to Chanile for sharing her journey and to all of you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this series, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more travel stories and inspiration. Until next time, happy travels!